subs Myron had a video request about matchmaking. I did a video. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the ones to do with Spencer Crawford. And I talked about matchmaking. You heard Errol Spence say Top Rank got the best matchmaking and matchmake Errol to be, you know, matchmake Terrence Crawford because, you know, good and build them up because he ain't fought nobody. But I'm explaining kind of matchmaking thing to the best of my knowledge. Anytime I got a, you know, you got a video request, you could DM me. Twitter, Instagram. I'm back on Facebook, so if you got my Facebook, I'll put it back in the link tree if it ain't there. I got a business page on there as well too. Let's talk about it, man. And I mean, matchmaking can go many different ways. Building a fighter can go many different ways. You can matchmake him to be something that he ain't, but you only can do that so far. The fighter needs some type of talent. You see, it's only so far. Guy, two-time gold medalist Zeus Simmons, it's only so far that he could get. You know, but the job is to get the fighter ready for a world title. It's as simple as that. It's pretty much what it is. Get them prepared for a world title. It can be a little different than that too. It seemed like the guys like Crawford, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, kind of guys who didn't have a bigger promoter push. Devin Haney chose to go the entrepreneurship route. Even though T.O. had Top Rank, he wasn't a Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson. They didn't expect that out of Teofimo Lopez. So those guys really kind of made it through the trenches. So they was probably really throwing them in there with any and everybody. Danny Garcia was another one. They was throwing him in there with Kendall Holt early on. They was throwing him in there with any and everybody, and they just survived. You know, and them going through that process is not having a silver spoon in their mouth. Matchmaking wise, they became better. Marvin Hagler's probably the most prominent name you could think of. You know, got some losses, some questionable losses in there. I mean, he had 40-something fights before he got a title fight and he got robbed overseas. And that's another reason why he never really went to 68, was because it was a full European division for the most part. And he got robbed. His first title shot, I think he got robbed somewhere over there in Europe. So I think it was the UK. He did eventually end up coming back and winning the title and beating the guy, I believe. But nonetheless, guys who will get match made tough, 9 times out of 10, like Hagler, Kearns, Haney, they don't have, or T.O. and Danny, they don't have the biggest push. They just guys that they don't really believe in like that. And they just make it through, you know. And what's so great about those guys, a lot of them guys didn't have the training camp expenses to make it through. A lot of these guys were working 9 to 5s, working construction, and then trying to train and, you know, dealing with everyday life problems, dealing with bills, and not having a big promotional push behind them. But as far as the matchmaking goes, you know, what you want to do is early on, you want to get the easiest opponents you can find early on. For a guy that got time, that's young, you probably want to give him about 5 to 10 easy opponents. You know, if they was active as they used to be, you know, just get them wet, get them used to no headgear, get them used to the 8 ounces or the 10 ounces. You know, get him active. He should be probably fighting every quarter, if not as much as possible, more than that. You just want to get them acclimated to the program. You want to keep them focused in the gym. You don't want to give them too much spare time. You just want to keep them in the ring, getting money, getting reps. It's like football or basketball, getting the reps. You know, get them with the right team, fixing what need to be fixed. But right around that 10, 11 fight range, then you probably thinking like, okay, you know, what is he good at? What does he struggle with? Now, the thing about this point is you probably want to start kind of putting them in there with guys that are limited. But let's say, you know, a guy struggle with a mover, right? Let's say fighter A struggle with a mover. Let's start getting him in there with a moving guy, but he limited. He can't take a punch or he don't got power. So let's start getting him in there with a guy like that. let's start getting him in those type of fights where we know he weak at. Let's give it to him in small increments and with guys in limited, that's limited, in those capacity, in some capacity, maybe power, maybe chin, you know what I'm saying? And let's get him in there. Then we going in those training camps, we're going to start getting sparring partners that can move, and we're going to get to a solution on how to make him better with that, because 9 times out of 10, on his way to a title, on his way to unification, on his way up in weight, he's going to run into a guy like that. So the sooner the better. After you get enough reps, then you want to start putting him in there, seeing where he's strong at, seeing where he's weak at. If you just continue to match make him towards his strengths, right? Eventually, there's going to be a huge chink in the armor. He's going to get exposed. There's only so far you can go. Now, like I said before, you can squeeze the orange juice as far as you want to. But if you want to make him the best fighter that he can be, early on, you want to start matchmaking him with guys that he struggled with. He might struggle with, if he got a chin problem, then it ain't really too much you can do about it. It's just like you just got to keep him away from power punchers. They got to work on defense and protecting his chin and how to hold, and that's just something that can't be changed. He struggled with guys with good hand speed. Let's get him in with guys with good hand speed, and let's show him how to break these guys down. If you have to bring a liaison into the camp to assist the coach, or we got to bring in additional help to assist him, so be it. But you got to get the root cause early when you're talking about matchmaking. So if I struggle with guys that move and box a lot, well, come on, let's get a whole bunch of movers and boxers. Let's go on a 3 or 4 fight streak where we fighting a lot of movers, we fighting a lot of guys that's fainting. We fighting guys we got problem with speed, they got speed, and gonna show how we gonna break these guys down. And once you do something and you get used to it, you know what I'm saying, then you become better at it. Now we can step up to the next level in the top 10 or 15 and see where we gauge at. But it's all about preparing them for the championship level and preparing them for the long haul. Top rank tends to matchmake their young fighters tough. Because if you get to a point where you don't hack it, Carlos Adames, we cut your ass. He lost to Teixeira, got cut. That's how he ended up at PBC. They felt Donaire didn't have nothing left, cut him. He still went on to win a world title. Got rid of Elvis Rodriguez after he lost to Kenneth Sims. Didn't sign Kenneth Sims, but got rid of Elvis Rodriguez, and after he lost to Kenneth Sims, and but yeah, top rank. If it's time to swim and you can't swim, and they don't see no real possibilities for you, Ed and Berlanga wanted to step up. They said we didn't want to be responsible for a dead body. You move on, we move on. Top ranks, it's like getting into an exclusive, country club. That's how they process it. It's like getting into an exclusive country club. Where you got to know somebody, or you got to be in the right social class to get in. That's how they matchmaking their screening process is. PBC, they trying to stretch it out as long as possible. You know how you try to stretch out that toothpaste? You keep rolling it up and you rolling it up, squeezing it out. You squeeze as much as you can squeeze, then you cut it in half, and then you try to put the toothbrush in there to get the toothpaste. Instead of just going up the street to Dollar Tree, Family Dollar, and getting you some more toothpaste, or the CVS, whatever. That's top rank. That's PBC. They try to string out the inevitable. Instead of trying to find a solution to the problem, they try to work around the problem. That's the difference. Instead of trying to fix the problem, they try to work around the problem. That's like, anything. Some people got that mindset, and they should be trying to fix this. They should be trying to find a solution early on to the product. But then, at some point, they got to drop them off in the deep end. Wilder versus Fury, Errol versus Terrence Crawford. Eventually, Tank gonna have to go off the deep end. Like it or not, it's gonna make too much financial sense. Eventually, Broner had to go off the deep end. You notice all the guys we talked about going off the deep end, they requested the deep end. Wilder requested Fury, didn't have to fight him. Adrian requested Madonna, didn't have to fight him. You can go on and on and on. And Gary wanted to fight Loma, didn't have to fight him. So you match make these guys, you put them in the gym with guys that they struggle with, they naturally struggle with. So then when the time comes, it's not a huge learning curve. In 8 to 10 weeks, you cannot prepare Errol Spence for a Terrence Crawford. If you knew the guy, you knew you're going to have to fight guys that move, that stick and move, that they should have been in the gym with, they should have knew where he was strong, where he was weak at with Derrick James. That's the manager, the trainer, the promoter, the advisor. They all work together to be the matchmaker. But ultimately, it's the provider, the promoter's ultimate, and the management ultimate decision. So they get with Derrick, they get with Bomac, you know, they get with the fighter and say, this is what we want to do. You know what I'm saying? You think he can win, you know, that's that. So it's all about grooming these. What's Top Rank do it? They're grooming them the right way. You know? And that's just what it's about. And then at some point, you know, Top Rank fighters go off the deep end way before championship level. You know, they be off the deep end in the top 10. You know, top 5, top 3 contenders. They ain't waiting till they unify, or they ain't waiting till they move up a world. You know, a lot of times with Al Heyman fighters, you know, Gary Russell was the one that went off the deep end first with Lomachenko. That's hilarious. Early in his career. So when you match and make these guys, they're younger, you got to know where they're strong and they're weak at. You got to try to fix the weaknesses as much as you can, and then you move on. You can't fix a chin, though. But somebody who struggle with movements or struggle with pressure fighters, you throw them in the gym, you put them in there with limited fighters that have that style, then you build it up to make them a complete fighter. Now, Myron also asked that, you know, that people say that PBC market their fighters better. The thing about that is they grandfather their fighters in better with HBO. A lot of their popularity come from Keith Thurman being on HBO, Adrian Broner being on HBO, Danny Garcia being on HBO, and some of the top ranked fighters are on HBO as well too. And the Zone might have had Danny Jacobs might have been on there or whatever, but you know, they got the machine of Viacom behind them. And Disney is a nice machine to have behind you, but I don't think Disney, you know, Viacom, MTV, Nickelodeon, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, do they do a better job marketing their fighters? I mean, you can make a case. They just got Floyd Mayweather just stamped the PBC brand, so it put more. You know, then you had Canelo fighting, you know, on Showtime early on. So I'm not necessarily sure they brand their fighters better. It's the more popular platform. But yeah, I had to stop. But I don't even remember where I started at. But you know, what we was talking about? Man, I forgot. It was something we was talking about. I'm trying to think what it was. Oh yeah, the marketing part. Yeah, man, there's apples. I mean, they just got grandfather names in. They did a better job of, you know, Mayweather, Canelo flying through, Madonna, Broner. A lot of them guys had a name coming off HBO and Top Rank. It was really just Loma and Terrence I could really think of. So I won't say they do a better job marketing, but they do got Viacom behind them. And then he asked, can an older fighter get better at boxing? Yeah, they can get better. I mean, as you get older, physically you drop off, but yeah, physically you drop off. But you just get a little slower. But what you know, anytime you continue to do something, you always get better. You know what I'm saying? So as long as injuries ain't involved, so you know they get technically better. You get more experience, more reps. You know, so yeah, older fighter can get better, especially in the technical and in the mind. So shout out to Myron for the video request. If you got a video request, I'm gonna start a mailbag pretty soon. If you got a video request, you know, hit the link tree. Hit me up on Twitter, Instagram. You got my Facebook, all that, you know, Twitter the fastest way, then Instagram. You got Facebook, I got you. Hit the link tree, thumbs up the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, subscribe button. It's the bell icon button. Appreciate the love, support. Peace.